This meeting is called to order. Good evening, and welcome to the July 26, 2018 meeting of the Southeast Delco Board of School Directors. Please stand for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Scott, may I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Gallagher.
Present.
Mrs. Irons.
Present.
Mr. McBride.
Excused.
Ms. Monroe.
Present.
Mr. Wilson.
Excused.
Dr. Wilson.
Excused.
Ms. Woodfolk.
Present.
Dr. Butts.
Present.
Mr. DiOrio.
Present.
Mrs. Forbes. Present. Ms. Harris Johnson.
Present. Please note that the person wishing to address the board must be a resident or an employee of the district. Provide their name and address and complete the yellow card which is in the back of the room. I do not have any comments at this time. Dr. Butch, do you have a superintendent's report?
Just want to highlight a couple of items. Our extended school year program and also our summer tutoring program and summer school at the high school finished earlier today. So they hold on just a moment. They completed their classes, and we had our senior graduation for the students that participated in the summer program. So I believe we had about 12 students who graduated earlier today from Academy Park. They were very excited, and their families were very excited and appreciative of the efforts of the students to make it through. And I want to say congratulations to each one of them. We are definitely in the summer processes. Our summer cleaning is taking place throughout our buildings. Now with summer school done, we will be hitting full stream ahead with Harris, Darby Township, and also Academy Park High School. We have a number of construction projects that are taking place. We do anticipate all the construction projects to be completed prior to the start of the school year. We do have a boiler being replaced at Delcroft and also at Harris. We have an air-conditioned air handler unit being completed at Delcroft, also in the gym area. And we are also finishing up some work on sidewalks and concrete work around the district. We still have part of that needing to be done at Harris School. The entryway into where the cafeteria entrance is, or the side of Harris where the dumpsters usually are, needs to still be completed, but we anticipate all of those jobs will be done prior to the start of the school year. Our first day for staff is August 23rd. First day for students is August 29th, I believe. I see a couple people nodding their heads, so it will come very quickly. And that's the key items I want to report. In addition to this board meeting, we did have an executive session briefly prior to this board meeting to discuss evaluation and personnel items. And Madam President, that is my report.
Thank you, Dr. Butts. For the approvals, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the June 28, 2018 regular board business meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Motion approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any questions on the bills?
Oh, Madam President, yes. One of the things that Superintendent just mentioned was the cleaning of the schools. And I was checking the bills, and Distinctive Maintenance Services is our cleaning company. And since I'm not aware of how to even find out how we should go out on contracts, I would like us to look at the contract for Distinctive Maintenance Services, since we have paid them, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay.
What
So,
page you on, Dorothy?
Distinctive,
What page?
page 625.
25.
25.
I guess it's 25. Oh, I'm so used to saying, oh, right, 25. What's on page 25 just says cleaning equipment. And my complaint, not understanding how much it costs to have all the buildings that we have cleaned by a service, I would assume that the service would provide their own equipment and supplies. But looking through the bills in different months, I went back actually until the beginning of the year, and we put out like $867.75 for equipment, $1,416 for equipment. We've put out $13,000 for paper for cleaning, supplies. We put out close to $3,500 in supplies. So what I can't understand is if we have a contract with a cleaning company, why are we supplying them with equipment to clean and the supplies? What do they supply other than the fact that they supply the people?
So
But why don't they supply the equipment to their employees?
by our contract, what we have agreed for them to supply is basically the people power to clean our buildings. We contract out and use our bid process through the common bids to be able to get supplies for them. And over the years, that's been a cheaper process. Now, their contract agreement, I believe, is being renewed or considered for renewal through this year. Their contract ends at the end of this school year, correct?
Okay.
2019.
In 2019. So we will look at that. In terms of services, just a thumbnail sketch. We contract with them for all of our cleaning services after school hours throughout our buildings, and also summer cleaning services. Last time prior to the renewal, we did seek out companies to consider bidding, and we also estimated what it would cost us to employ enough staff to do the custodial services after hours. Our judgment was for us to do it was significantly more expensive.
Okay.
But we are 3 years down the line, so we will look at that again, and the board will have to be involved in the process in terms of what we want to bid, what we want to look at in terms of support services, including the cleaning services, not support, cleaning services.
Okay.
So, wait a minute. So,
Can
Just
we
just-
check with other school districts in Delaware County and find out, how
So
they
our-
work it, what
So our
kind of
cleaning
contracts they have?
Our cleaning services for a district our size would be probably the least expensive of any district, 4,600, 700 students, because most of our employees, most of the people are not our employees, but they are part-time employees by DMS. Similar to our transportation system, our transportation, we employ part-time employees. We can relatively easily, once the budget are submitted to the state, and we can pull off what each school district spends in areas of cleaning, transportation, whatever, and compare our expenditures. Our expenditures, when we looked at it 3 years ago, we could not, with our own employees, come anywhere close to the cost of this contract. In terms of, we were much more expensive.
So it was a 3-year contract.
It's a 3-year contract.
So,
Yeah.
I'm just doing the figures. If I just multiply with their monthly, I'm assuming this is their monthly cost, $86,618.50.
So
By
just ballpark,
12, that's $1 million.
it's about $1 million contract.
Plus all their
Yeah,
supplies.
it's $1 million contract.
Well, they're not, so are there,
So
I know we keep asking the same question. So there's the supplies that we purchase for DMS, are there DMS supplies or are they our supplies?
as was indicated previously, there are supplies for our buildings, cleaning our buildings, and also the paper products, the
Right.
refilling bathrooms, refilling everything related to that. We will be looking at this contract, just like we have to look at all of our contracts. Part of our review process will have to take place in the beginning part of this school year, over the next 3-4 months, due to the contracts needing to be in place by this time next year. So we have a short turnaround if we want to fully investigate how we want to renew with somebody, or if we want to investigate how we want to bring the services back in district or look at other providers. But it is a process we've done each of the last times we've renewed. And when we did that, the last time, DMS was substantially cheaper than what we would be providing. To clean our buildings easily, it would be 2 to 3 full-time individuals to clean our buildings. The high school would have to be additional, just because of the size. So,
So the gentleman in there also works for DMS. Custodians in there, are custodians?
no, we have daytime custodians. We have 6 daytime custodians, and the evening when the buildings are being cleaned are DMS part-time custodians or part-time employees. Okay, but I do hear the concern. We will be looking at it. I don't want to discount it. It is definitely a cleaning our buildings is one of many expenses we have to look at over the next year.
Thank you. The other thing is about charter schools. Do we get some type of a reimbursement from the state for our charter school students? I read something about a reimbursement, that's why I'm asking.
So about 10 years ago, there was a specific line item to offset the cost of charter schools, and for every student that was in a charter school, we would get a percentage of their tuition back. That went away during Governor Corbett's time, and has not been renewed. Having said that, for every student that attends one of our schools, or we're responsible for paying their tuition, and charter school students, we are responsible for paying their tuition. We do get a small amount back from the state called a basic ed subsidy, special ed subsidy, that's based off of our number of students. Our enrollment this year was around 4,700 students. We get about $16 million in basic ed and special education funding, maybe a little bit more. So you can divide that up across the students, but it per day is about 7 years ago is about $5-6 per kid per day. So obviously doesn't cover the whole cost of educating a child.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I just think that we pay too much for charter schools. And in July 25th, which is a couple days ago, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette ran a story about PA Cyber Charter School. And it seems that the gentleman that started the school has been convicted of tax fraud. Okay. So, and is now, will be in prison for, 10 months or something. What got my eye was the fact that it was a PA charter school, and a cyber charter. And so I thought, well, we're paying for a PA cyber, and we've been paying for students to go there. I had no idea where it was, and let me see if I have it. Oh yeah, it's somewhere near Wilkes-Barre. So we're allowing our students who live right outside Philadelphia to use a charter school, which is a cyber, located somewhere outside Wilkes-Barre, and now they have enough money that they're going to be build a brick and mortar school. The article in the Times Leader, also the same day, July 25th, says that they have 11,000 students, and I just added up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of our payments to them, and we've put out $221,171.23 to send to allow this cyber school, which looks to me like there could be some shady things going on there. If he was arrested for tax evasion, what else is going on? And I don't know exactly what to do about it. I would like to maybe see if we could contact other schools, even if it's just the ones in Delaware County, and find out if they've been paying out absorbent prices. The last bill, in fact, was in June the 28th, and It was for $77,000. So there's a lot of money going out to this particular cyber school. Not, there were other cyber schools, but I picked this one up because of the articles in the newspaper. And I just think that we need to do something. I mean, we really need to do something.
Right now, we have about 350 students in charter schools, not all of them in cyber charter. And that is roughly 2%. I think I have that wrong. So the reality in terms of how much we spend on charter schools is about 5% of our overall budget, because we have a ballpark $80 million budget, and a charter school costs are around $4+ million. So about 5% of our costs go to charter schools. There was a publication about charter schools in the students attending charter schools from Delaware County and the numbers. It was put out by an organization called Public Citizens for Children and Youth, PCCY. It's a Philadelphia organization that we have worked with. They also did a news conference at our kindergarten center about a year ago, a little over a year ago. That report did give a good thumbnail sketch of what each district was paying in charter school cost and how many students were attending. So, okay.
Excuse me, can I add? Do you know how many students that we have going to PA cyber school?
Probably pushing 20.
So around 20 students at PA Cyber. Now there's a couple cyber charter schools that have names very similar.
Right.
PA Leadership Cyber.
Leadership, and I think there's a Pennsylvania
There's
something.
a Pennsylvania Cyber Charter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
not the same.
So
Which one are you speaking of?
PA.
So it's the Pennsylvania. So
Yeah.
that's the one that we have about 10, or no, about 20, you
I think
said?
it's closer, based on the total payments, it's probably closer to 20.
Okay. So are we able to reach out to those families to see if they would be interested in going to our cyber school?
Do every year.
Okay, we do it every year. Okay.
So-
Anyone switch this year? We don't know.
Don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay.
So we can get that information. We do reach out in terms of cyber charter schools to the students that are attending those schools. We have also previously reached out to the charter school students. We do have a capacity issue. Our buildings are very close to capacity. This is the tightrope walk that we have to be aware of. The same way with Catholic schools, there is a balance. If all the students from Catholic schools came back to our district, we would not be able to accommodate.
Yes.
We don't have the facilities to accommodate all those students. Our enrollment throughout the district has gone up over 600 students in the last 5-6 years. During that time, that's been mainly coming back into our district versus going to charter schools. We've been around the 350 students in charter schools for the last 3 years. The difficulty is the costs have gone up each year for the charter schools.
Thank you. I do understand that I was just speaking of that 20 going to the cyber school where the leadership was just indicted. So I just can't justify continuing to pay them, and they were committing fraud.
Thank you.
I have two questions. Page 24, the dual enrollment for Cabrini University, it's check 56950. in the amount of $1,175. Is that for one student? Or do we have, I wasn't aware that we had dual enrollment with Cabrini, so.
We will be looking at that. I could. No. So it's somewhat mistitled.
Okay,
It's not dual enrollment.
okay.
Just wait one moment. Let me make sure it's not dual enrollment. It is an advanced placement summer institute training our advanced placement biology teacher to be teaching our advanced placement course of biology students. So it is at Cabrini. It's for an institute that is put on by Cabrini in conjunction with it's the college board who oversees the advanced placement testing.
Okay.
Okay?
Makes sense.
I was struggling on the dual enrollment because I was thinking, I don't think so.
Yeah. And I just have one other question. On page 25, Hoffman Homes for the Youth. I just want to know what that was.
So Hoffman Children's Home is a home near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. They run very specialized foster care programs. They are not an approved private school, but they are an approved school for students who are experiencing major difficulties in a home environment, either adult-oriented or sometimes student-oriented. So this is a treatment residential school. We pick up the education cost. Somebody else picks up the medical treatment cost. It is a school outside of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on the bills? Do I have a motion to approve the bills for payment in the amount of $4,114,695.12?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There's no old or unfinished business. Questions on the new business item? Are there any questions on education item 1? Are there any questions on finance item 1 through 5?
I have a question. On number 1, the election of Dave Culp, district accountant, as treasurer for the Southeast Delco School District. My question is just that when we received the treasurer's report, did anybody really sign for it? Like the signature saying, yes, I have checked this?
Okay, so the treasurer report. I think I understand the question. So it is submitted to the board through Dr. Scott.
Oh,
And
okay.
our treasurer, by appointment, is Dave Culp, or has been Dave
Right.
Culp, assuming that it
I don't have a problem with
continues.
that. Okay.
This is one of the checks and balances between boards and administration and between business managers, secretaries, and treasurer. You do need to have a treasurer who sanctions, this is our bills, this is our payments, this is our treasurer report, finalize it. And, but Dr. Scott has to review it all and make sure, hey, this makes sense. So there is the check and balances there. Mr. Culp is the person that submits it and has to sign off along with Dr. Scott and myself. So everything, when we submit it to the state, generally the superintendent has to sign off an accuracy notice. I look at the numbers closely, but I do rely heavily on Mr. Culp and Dr. Scott to make sure everything's in line. So,
Okay, but
okay.
it's you're saying that you check it and Dr. Scott checks it, but what I was asking was, isn't there anybody that actually signs off on it and says, like, yes, I'm the treasurer, I sign off on it?
So anything that we have to submit to
Yeah.
the state and the
If you
auditors,
were, right, if you were submitting that,
so anything that has to be submitted, I have to sign off, or in combination, I sign off, and the person that's supervising that area, and Mr. Culp, in terms of the treasury, has to approve it. He has to. Most of the things are done electronically and are submitted electronically. By submitting, you're basically saying, I agree to submit this, and I've reviewed it for accuracy.
okay,
So, okay.
okay, thank you.
Are there any questions on human resources items 1 through 11?
I do want to acknowledge a number of the items related to item 6 is that are a number of transfers or reassignments to changes in education programs, both in terms of special education programs and reading intervention programs and science intervention programs at the high school. So a lot of these transfers are due to changes in the programs that programs were no longer included in the budget this year, and therefore we have gone down as a district about 10 positions. And these transfers allow us to go down the positions without furloughing anybody as of right now. But we did, as the board is aware, we did submit to the state that we may furlough staff, but it appears as of right now, we are not anticipating having to furlough any staff due to the budget that was adopted, which included less positions overall than we had the previous year.
Thank you. There are no policy items. Are there any questions on property item 1? Are there any questions from the public regarding non-agenda items?
Agenda item.
I'm sorry, agenda items.
No.
Hearing none. Okay. New business voting. Do I have a motion to approve education item 1?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve finance items 1 through 5?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve human resources items 1 through 11?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There are no,
Before we go on, I wanted to acknowledge the retirement of Miss Linda McDaniel, special education aide. She's given the district 10 years of service. Thank you so much, Miss Linda McDaniel.
thank you, Ms. Daniels. There are no policy items. Do I have a motion to approve property item 1?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Community County Committee reports. Dr. Wilson is not here. Ms. Monroe, do you have a report from Delaware County Intermediate Unit?
None at this time, Madam President.
Mrs. Forbes, do you have a report on PSBA Legislative Council?
No, I don't have a report at this time. Everyone received the most recent report in their package, and we don't have any new bills that have been passed.
Okay. Mrs. Irons, do you have a report on the Parent-Student Advisory Committee?
Yes, I do. We are reconvening on the 2nd, August the 2nd, and it's actually going to be at 10 a.m. Over what I don't call it the Art Ed Building. We call it the Opportunity Center in Collingdale with Mr. Bogar. So it's the 2nd at 10 a.m. And I want to thank Ms. Monroe for volunteering to come attend this meeting.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies. Mr. DiOrio, do you have a solicitor's report?
No, Madam Chairman, not this evening.
Dr. Butts, are there any administrative updates?
Just want to highlight, previously, a board member asked about some additional state funding and if we were expecting any additional state funding. And one of the questions was around safety and school. One of the items that we have not been notified of is how much money we potentially would be getting around safe schools. There was additional money put in by the state legislators, about $60 or so million. We do anticipate some additional funding to assist us with our safe school programming, but we have not received any notification of how much. We will likely have notification prior to the Committee of the Whole meeting. We'll have a discussion at the August Committee of the Whole meeting about that funding. There is also a slim possibility of funding, additional funding through the Ready to Learn program. The state approved about $18 million additional funding across the entire state. We have advocated for additional funding. We'll see if the state gives us any additional. That also will be discussed if we, what our status on that is at the August Committee of the Whole meeting. That is my report.
Thank you, Dr. Butts. Are there any comments from citizens regarding non-agenda items? We have one, Mr. Joe Barcela. Would you please state your name and address? And you have
Barclay,
3 minutes.
700 Bartram Avenue, Collingdale. I'd like to speak on the tennis court use at Harris Elementary School. I understand that there's been some updates, maybe Dr. Butts you could speak of, that maybe I would like to hear, that the facility will be open to the community for use.
So why don't we do this? We won't take your time up. So we'll take them off the clock and we'll see if my update then satisfies your question. So we have over the summer and since we built the playgrounds, playground at Harris, we have kept them locked up most of the time when our students weren't utilizing them. We will be, starting Monday, providing additional access, but it'll be through the gate coming, the closest one to Harris, facing Harris, so the one up the steps. We will be providing access during the day up through the evening around dusk time. Now, we have to work out a number of things because the evening dusk time, we have to get security to close it up, so that will be an item. The same issue with the weekends. We have limited, especially during the summer, we have limited to no staff on during the weekends, so we'll have to look at that. We are very interested in working with the Collingdale community in terms of their the borough and also the police department to assist us in being able to open it up during the daytime hours so it can be used. We do have some newer technology in that area that allows us to monitor that area better than previously. So our thoughts are we can open it up and hopefully avoid concerns that forced us to remove the previous playground equipment over a decade ago. So that's where we're at. We do understand the desire to have community members use the tennis courts and also the playground equipment. The vandalism was a concern that we had. We think we can address that in terms of having signs and also security monitors to be able to view that area. Okay.
I agree, that's an asset for the district to have the cameras in position. I thought that the playground was disassembled years back more for the expansion of the gym. The construction that took place needed that space.
There was a playground back there, correct? There was another playground that was, if you recall where the huge oak tree was, underneath that there was on the far corner there was a playground set there that some vandalism eventually ended up for us having to get rid of it.
Okay, well, I would like to just pose another question, and that would be that nowhere, and I do mean nowhere, like nowhere, anywhere, are there tennis courts that don't have a fence that would actually limit the ball from going into a play area. So if people are playing tennis, an errant shot, which there are always errant shots, are going to go flying into that playground. And that's a concern that I have as an instructor, that it's just not, it doesn't make good sense for the game to have that liability, that potential. So, I mean, the decision was made to put the court or the playground on that third court, but I think we needed to go that one next step, and that's to have a fence that would stop an errant shot. I've kind of alluded to this. I've sent emails to you and to Ms. Scott.
Right.
And I've contacted Harry Young, and I haven't been able to get a reply from anybody.
So in terms of the fencing area, in terms of use of the playground, the tennis courts and the playground, there is a concern between the two areas, and I've had that conversation previously. We can look at that.
Right.
I won't guarantee anything immediately can be done, but we can definitely look at what options would be available. The decision was to allow us to control access to both areas, and this was our solution so that we could control access and have an area that we could easily monitor and protect so that it is usable for the next 10 plus years, hopefully.
Right.
But being able to use the tennis courts at the same time as playground makes sense. So we'll look at that. I've had conversations with borough officials, including the recreation department. We'll have that conversation and look at, is there a solution that makes some sense?
Okay, and there are holes along the fence that the kids climb under to get in now.
Yes.
So certainly
So that-
address that. If the gate's going to be open, I think we can seal up the holes.
So that was raised in a meeting earlier today, brought to my attention that the building principal did have knowledge of of kids being able to get in. And I'm smiling because the kids that got in felt they were in trouble because they got in, and the building principal assured them, hey, we're trying to work through so you can get in without going underneath the fence. So I agree, we do need to address that, because that's not the safest way to go into the playground. So opening up the gate hopefully will solve that, but we do have to fix the areas where a person can go underneath the fence.
And do you know, it's been stated to me that at some point after, well, who knows when, but that the nets would actually come down and the poles, they would be put in storage. Hopefully we can get past that so that the nets and poles will stay for the community to use as the playground is able to. That might have been just a maintenance director speaking off the cuff.
So ideally, we want to be able to use that area both as a playground area. Mr. Young, I understand. Mr. Young, okay, so
There's always the ability to remove the posts and the nets. That's correct. That's all courts. That's just how they're built. The poles come out of the city. Okay.
so one of the
Guys did.
Yeah.
Maybe it was young Rob.
so. Okay, folks, we're trying to run a board meeting. Okay, in all seriousness, using the court area in other ways other than just tennis was the reason for having pools that can be removed and nets that can be removed. Having the nets and pools there when people want to play tennis is critical. It's kind of hard for us to play tennis without them. So we will make every effort to have them available to the community when they're not being used during the school day. So I don't see a major problem.
Those nets and posts were provided by the University of Penn throughout the 30-some years that we've been running on
Previously.
those courts up until this particular
Yeah.
purchase that you had to make. Prior to that, they were all donated through, I work at Penn, so I have a
Okay.
relationship. And that's what's kept those courts in nets and also over at the high school for a period of maybe 5 years.
Okay. So thank you very much. I do appreciate the concern. You have definitely been concerned about the tennis area and the playground area
Believe me,
over
I'm
time.
very happy
So-
that there's been this leeway today, and, I heard the good news earlier
Yeah.
today, but I felt I should still come here. And number one, thank you for the move,
Okay.
that, we are worthy of being able to use recreation equipment. We're good neighbors, and so are you.
I totally agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Announcements, further meetings of the board. Committee of the Whole will be Thursday, August the 17th, 2018 at 6 p.m. Board meeting Thursday, August the 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m.
I have a comment.
Yes.
I just want to publicly thank Ms. Young for her assistance this week. And that if the constituents and parents continue to get the type of service that Ms. Young provided, then I think that the relationship and the community engagement piece for all schools would be more delightful. So again, Ms. Young, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
so move the adjournment.
Excuse me? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.